You're listening to Breaking New Ground. In this podcast, we provide thought-provoking conversations for those looking to begin or advance their entrepreneurial real estate goals.
Together, we'll venture into the world of commercial real estate with entrepreneurs who challenge the status quo, building innovative paths with bold approaches.
We're your hosts. I'm John Pugh, a real estate developer and investor.
And I'm Rachel Walters, a real estate marketing expert. Throughout our episodes, we'll bring in real estate trailblazers, creating a space for inspiring conversations surrounding commercial real estate.
Pugh Management is proud to sponsor the podcast Breaking New Ground. Pugh Management is a premier developer for mixed-use, multifamily, and industrial properties. We love to develop places to live, work, and play. Pugh Management partners with family offices and institutional investors on projects in New England and Central Florida. Check us out online at pughmgmt.com.
Our guest today is Rafael Weiss, a commercial real estate developer, entrepreneur, and thoroughbred racing enthusiast. Rafael is the founder of SYTES, a groundbreaking platform revolutionizing the way tenants, landlords, and developers connect to streamline site selection. He also manages a commercial real estate portfolio at JW Advance and operates Rosedown Racing, where he breeds and races top-tier thoroughbreds. Before stepping into real estate and tech, Rafael had a pretty interesting past touring as a DJ and music producer. And he also hiked the Appalachian Trail in just 6 months. Really pretty awesome thing. He's fluent in English, Spanish, and Hebrew, and he brings a unique global perspective to the industry. Today, we'll be discussing the lack of transparency in commercial real estate, the impact of AI on the industry, and current commercial real estate market climate. Let's jump in. Welcome, Rafael.
Yeah, thank you. It's funny, my bio sounds so much cooler than I really feel.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
You've done some fun stuff, and it's important to include that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It doesn't feel that way. I wake up, I'm like, oh, man, I can't believe I have to deal with another day of emails. No. Tired of this.
So we were talking before we hopped on about kind of AI and the AI, kind of where AI is going in our space in commercial real estate. That to me is an important conversation for a lot of people, for everybody in the industry should be. What are you seeing that you think is really interesting today that may be impactful in the next 12 to 18 months?
Man, well, we were talking a little bit earlier about it, and obviously we wanted to save it for the podcast, but I was telling you about these two AI agents that I saw interacting with each other on a phone call. It was specifically, one was calling for wedding reservations at a hotel to see if they had a wedding venue available, and the other AI agent was the hotel's AI agent. And then they all realized they're both AI agents, so they're like, "Oh, I'm an AI too. I'm an AI. Oh, let's talk in this." I don't know what language it was. I forgot what they
computer
called
language
it.
of sorts.
Yeah, and it sounded like dial-up modem, and they started interacting really quickly with each other because they were getting like full paragraphs done in like 5 seconds through the dial-up modem language. And it was just crazy to see. So then I started thinking, I'm like, wow, is there going to be a day or a time where we have a leasing rep, AI agent broker dealing with like a tenant rep broker on the other side that's an AI agent too, and they're like just negotiating with each other to get a lease done. It just kind of blew my mind,
Well, and that's one of the things that I've definitely read about recently, where that's the expectation, right? Is that AI agents over the next 12 months are going to be extremely impactful in business in general, in the world in general, but obviously also in CRE at some point. So I know I've been using AI a ton in terms of researching and preparing for, this conversation, among other things, right? To kind of simplify and streamline kind of the message that we're trying to get across, or things that we might want to discuss and focus on. It's really pretty awesome, that power. Elon Musk tweeted something the other day about the AI singularity. Kind of we're on the cusp, we're on the edge of the AI singularity, which is transformative place within time and history. I think it's really an interesting topic. How are you using AI right now? Are you using it in your business?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, are we talking like sites? Or are we talking day to day like commercial real estate stuff?
However you think is the best way to kind of kind of focus on.
I mean, obviously, I want to talk about sites, so
Yeah, we should absolutely
gotta go,
top of that.
gotta go to sites
Absolutely.
first.
Yeah.
So what we do, we implement AI in a few ways. Most of our AI is on the tenant rep side right now.
Okay. Yep.
So obviously, if you're repping a tenant and you have a ton of emails coming in with site submittals, you need a way to kind of handle all of that. So we created, I believe, the world's first AI tenant rep agent.
Nice.
So what our AI does, and I named him after my dog Rio, is yeah, because Rio's always just around,
Why not?
driving me crazy. So screw it, So what Rio does is it handles all of the email site submissions to a tenant rep broker. So these guys get overwhelmed with 8,000 sites for their tenants every day. 94% of them don't work. The other 5% are terrible, and there's 1% in there that's actually good.
Sure.
And they expect these tenant reps to go through all of them, and it's basically a nightmare, and it takes all of their day. I mean, it literally hours of their day if they're actually doing it. So we decided to create this AI agent that handles all of that for them. All they have to do is forward or CC Rio, and Rio will handle the rest. It reads PDFs, OMs, everything above, takes all of the information, parses it, views it, and filters it based on their tenant's criteria and tells them if it's going to work or not. And if that submission was missing any requirements that they might have needed, the AI agent actually emails the submitter asking for anything missing. So, if we got some genius leasing broker that forgot to include zoning in a site submittal, Rio will actually email them, say, hey, you forgot zoning, genius. What's going on?
Yeah.
That's
So-
amazing, Rafael. On the other side of that, I've worked in marketing and brokerage, and I know it's like, oh, how are we going to talk about our site? Send an email blast. Like, is there not any other way? And so I understand why a broker is going to start to, you send it to spam or to ignore it. And I know as an investor, you want these emails because you don't want to miss one. But at the same time, it feels like the only direction that the marketing team has ever given in some of these brokerages is email blast. So this is brilliant because there is some important information and you don't want to miss out on an opportunity.
Yeah, there is. And it's crazy because it hits you with like that Vegas gambling mentality, because I get email blasts on the landlord side just to buy properties. And I would say like 99 of them are terrible. What one is good. So it's just good enough to stay through and go through all of the email blasts and see if you catch that one. So
how is that
tough.
agent? How is that agent integrated into the larger sites platform? That's just one piece of functionality within the larger platform? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So it's fully integrated. So basically, once it takes all of that data, it puts all of the sites into sites automatically. It puts it into a spreadsheet table view that we have on the platform, and it also maps them out on a map as well, and then filters them based on the criteria, and it puts them in low priority or high priority folders. So the low priority sites typically are ones that don't work, and then high priority are ones that do work.
Amazing.
Interesting. That's awesome.
And then also the submitter gets a view of the entire process, so they could check the status of their submittal and interact with the tenant rep on there through chat and other things like that.
Wow, it sounds like a pretty powerful platform. Can you maybe tell us, because you're one of the things that I found really unique about when you and I first connected, and I learned more about what you're up to, is that you're in prop tech, but you were real estate first. And can you kind of maybe tell us about your experience and how that kind of informed the development of sites?
Yeah, for sure. I grew up relatively privileged, I guess, with my dad being in the real estate development industry. If you want to call it, I was part of the Lucky Sperm Club. So my dad developed a lot of South Miami, and I learned how to develop from him, and I learned the real estate business from him. So I was always kind of involved in watching him do deals and sell medical buildings and develop this hospital and re-tenant this. So I got a good grasp of the industry pretty early on. I wasn't super interested in it as first, obviously, because I left and tried to become a DJ. No, I did become a DJ. I shouldn't say tried. I actually did it relatively well. But yeah, that's kind of how I learned the whole industry, and then I got into developing BTS for net lease tenants, QSR, drive through, that kind of stuff. And I started realizing, God, like this is such a problem trying to figure out where these tenants want to be. I'm playing guessing games. I'm waiting in line at a booth, having an awkward conversation with some Wendy's tenant rep, and it's like a disaster. There needs to be a better way. So that was the original incarnation of SYTES. That was where the idea came from. I linked up with my partner, Dean. We got the whole thing going, and then we started adding more and more tools for tenant reps because we realized they were a super underserved market. And I was realizing that just from dealing with them on the other side. I would always get pissed at these tenant rep brokers and tenant and real estate reps because they wouldn't get back to me. But I never stopped to realize, well, let's think about this. Why are they not getting back to you? It's because they're getting overwhelmed with 8 million different crappy sites that don't work, and every clown gets their phone number and email. So we tried to build something to solve for all of that.
Fantastic. Are you so? You've built a standalone product. Are you in any type of partnerships kind of nationally that adds value to your platform? You add value to their platform. I'm curious kind of how has that evolved?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are in 2 active partnerships. We're building out the tools right now to fully integrate with each other, but we work with Placer and we also work with Sites USA, who are 2 just fantastic analytics companies.
Yeah.
We've also talked with a few other prop tech companies out there like Build Central and EarthCard and a bunch of different random ones, but we haven't solidified anything just yet. The main 2 are Sites USA and Placer.
Using some of their data on your platform, or are you providing them value on their platform, or how does that work?
So it goes back and forth. We've talked about pushing. So once these tenants know where they want to go, Sites comes into play. So on their end, once they're done doing their site selection in terms of analytics and general areas where they want to be, then they push to us, and vice versa. So we can provide reverse void analysis for them because all they have is where tenants aren't, and we have where the tenants want to be. So we can give that value to them. And if they have an account with both of us, then we can kind of make the whole deal work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So obviously this is a real problem and opportunity, and you're creating efficiencies, but how have you found the adoption of using the product and the change from brokers?
Yeah, I mean, look, the adoption was terrible at first. Nobody wants to use a new product. That's just the game. You have to convince these people, and if you have to drag them kicking and screaming, that's what you got to do to make them realize there's a better way here. I can't tell you how many times I've heard tried and true methods. Oh no, we gotta stay the old way that we've been doing since the 1950s. It's like, look, the only thing that's constant in life is change, right? So we need to move on and figure out a new way to do this more efficiently. There's AI agents. They're literally talking to each other now. Okay. Let's not do the same thing that you've been doing since 1984. So the adoption was slow at first. It's been ramping up now as we've created a easier flow and made things more user friendly. Less hand holding on our part, so people are a little bit more confident to be able to start using the product easier. Rio helps a ton because it's so easy to use. All you do is forward an email. If you can't do that, just retire. I'm
curious about the sales process for you with Sites and how that's kind of evolved. Did you start out with just kind of a straight cold calling mentality, or did you look immediately for kind of larger partnerships, or how has that evolved for you?
Yeah, so I was always a big cold caller. I worked at a software sales company. We sold tech support for a year. It was called ICE. It was actually not a really reputable company. I found out later, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, I was a big cold caller. I was like the number 1 salesman on my team. I would just blast cold calls. So originally we started cold calling all these different tenant reps and real estate reps. I haven't cold called any developers per se, just because they tend to come to us. The tenants were a little bit harder at first. Now it's kind of the opposite, which is crazy.
Nice.
But yeah, I would cold call, blast them, and then I realized, well, this isn't working too well. I started using LinkedIn, and LinkedIn just completely blew up for me, and has been the source of like 90% of my business. I'd say I can't stress enough how powerful of a tool LinkedIn is. It's
like
actually
direct outreach type stuff, Rafael. Is that?
I mean, no, just making posts that just kind of went, mini viral within the real estate sphere.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but I didn't do any direct outreach. I would just comment and message people that would interact with my posts, and people were just interested in what we were doing, so it was kind of an easy way to move forward. Yeah, I will say that the LinkedIn commercial real estate community seems super forward looking. These guys, like, I mean, they're looking at startups that have like nothing going on and trying to find out what the deal is. So there are some progressively thinking people out there in commercial real estate. It's not all dinosaurs.
I think they're slowly dying off, but there's still plenty of them around.
How do we take them out? What's
I
the
think you're
asteroid?
actively doing that, Rafael, which is great.
I want to be an asteroid. Just
You're
take them
part
all
of
out.
that. That's right. You're the asteroid. Exactly.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about JW Advanced. So that you manage a portfolio. Is that primarily retail, commercial, or is that some other asset class? And what does that look like?
Yeah, it's a mix of everything. It's office, industrial, retail. Yeah, that's it. And then we have
Is that your
medical as well.
family's portfolio you've been managing? Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my dad passed away about a year ago, so I took over the family office, and I just manage it, run it, deal with 1031s and all the strange headaches that pop up with that whole world. But yeah.
Is there anything within that space that you've seen that's interesting? Is either an opportunity to improve or just, I'm just kind of curious about the asset management space. Are there pieces there that you've been learning about that are maybe there's some under improved areas, or I'm just kind of curious?
Yeah, I think that they're definitely, I mean, there's probably software that I don't know about, but I was looking for, and my buddy runs Lease Cake. I forgot to mention him. We're actively partnering with them as well.
What do they do?
Lease Cake's great. They do lease administration on the tenant side, and then I was so basically, I lost my train of thought there. I wanted to explain more what they do before I was going to say what our conversation was.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lease Cake, they manage leases, and so basically what they can do for a big franchisee is they know when any important dates are coming up, where they might need to put TI money out or send a notice to renew or this or that. When you have 150 leases or 300 locations for one of your franchises, you need software like that. So they do a great job. And not only that, but their GUI is fantastic. Like, that is probably the best looking GUI I've seen in PropTech. I don't know if you've taken a look. Go through their Vimeo. It's like,
wow. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's chef's kiss. I mean, it's beautiful. But anyways, when I was talking to him, I was trying to see if there was kind of an all-in-one lease administration tool on the landlord side, kind of the opposite of what he was doing. And they have some functionality from what I can understand in relation to landlord lease management. The only thing that they don't have is payment, which I would like to have, but I wonder if they'll implement it. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for, is kind of like a lease administration payment tool system. I don't know if that exists. And then, yeah, I think there should be some innovation on the actually like listing platforms for these triple net properties, or any investment sale properties, really.
Yeah. What's up with that? Why is it so? It feels like I feel like we're in 1995 still, with a lot of that stuff. When I look at it, it's
yeah.
Well, we know a little bit of who the problem is with that.
Yeah, we can't say their name.
Definitely their lawyer fees are a big part of their budget.
Well, that's true. There's a monopoly, right? So that's part of the challenge in terms of innovation, I guess. But yeah, there's plenty of room for improvement there.
For sure. I'm seeing guys do it. One Rec, I don't know if you know that they're very interesting, actually. It's not really a listing platform. It's more of it's kind of a Yelp for centers or areas, really.
Oh,
And
really?
it's pretty cool. And then you could
Says
list what's of
one rep, REP?
one rec
Oh, okay.
.com. Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
So it's actually a fascinating concept, because it's basically like you can claim, they have a bunch of centers up and everything, and you can claim them as the owner and then manage that site on on your own behalf, or just let people review it on their own, and good luck. So it's kind of, yeah, it's Yelp for landlords, but you can also list what's available, or you could list that center for sale on there, if I understand it correctly. I don't know if he's
That's
implemented those
cool.
features just yet, but yeah, it's interesting, and the GUI is nice, and there's some cool stuff there. So that's more on like the leasing and sale side, both. But there's Revere CRE that just sold the Lightbox. There's a couple guys out there doing some
There
stuff.
have been in the past, but either brokerages buy them, they get absorbed into others. There just hasn't been a strong second choice.
Yeah, I like Crexy. I think the only problem is like some brokers just don't list on Crexy, and I don't know what the deal is there. And then they go to RCM, which is pretty good, but the interface is just old. It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. It's
Mhm.
hard to navigate. So I feel like if Crexy implemented what RCM does, and then they had like just like a higher tier than Crexy Pro, like Crexy, I don't know, just investments or something like that,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
or accredited. There we go. Then they would probably dominate, because their GUI is nice. They just don't have the higher end deals, like 10 million. They do, but not as many as RCM does. Like it's just it's kind of a different ball game.
All right, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. I'm curious to understand kind of where you see the market right now, and kind of what do you think are the most influential pieces that are going to be driving things in 2025? Because there's a lot going on, and I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on like what are maybe the key pieces that might be driving values in our industry.
I mean, it's all debt based right now.
Sure.
I'm in the middle of a 1031 exchange, and I'm just dealing with sellers that are stuck in 2021 that are trying to, sell a center with at a 5.5 cap that's got, 5-year leases. It's like, this isn't reality anymore. Nobody's buying this, and they're gonna lose money, right? So it just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. So there's this weird schism between like sellers that are just stuck in 2021, and then these other guys that understand where the debt market is, so they're pricing their center in the low sevens, and kind
Yeah.
of coming to reality. And it's funny because all those guys, there's like 10 bidders for every center that's like in the
Yeah.
low sevens. They're like priced relatively normal compared to what the asset is,
Yeah.
because everything else is it's impossible to pencil. Literally, that you're losing money if you're buying it at any normal loan to value.
Yeah, we've bid on a couple of properties recently, and it's exactly that. You end up almost bidding against yourself because you're trying to find a way to skin the cat as well as you can, but there's only so aggressive you can be because interest rates set a floor, and it is what it is. And
Yeah,
yeah,
100%. Yeah, that's all you can do. That's you gotta pay what you can pay, and it's like, hey, look, see you later. My interest rates are gonna be at like a 6.5, like,
yeah,
or and that's good.
yeah,
It's probably
yeah.
gonna be close if you're buying like anything like that's not like investment grade. You're in the sevens, and it's just how am I supposed to buy your property at a 6 cap when my debt's at a 7.5?
What do you think? So clearly interest rates are important.
Mm-hmm.
Is there policy wise? Is there anything specific that you think that might be able to unlock the markets to some extent? Because I feel like there's definitely this freeze like you're describing.
Yeah, I don't know if anything, Paul. I mean, outside of rate cuts and quantitative easing, um, I don't know. I think really it's time, and it's also
Mhm.
it's seeing that that things aren't going to change. Because I think the psychology behind a lot of what we're dealing with is sellers are holding on. They think there's going to be rate cuts around the corner. They think, oh, this is just temporary, and people just need to come to grips with reality and say, hey, look, like, this is the new normal. They might not be going back down. So
Are you seeing much forced selling at all in the market?
You know what? Everyone said, okay, the 2025 is the year. All the distressed CMBS is coming. This is it. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if they were able to kind of blend and extend, or kind of. I don't know. I just haven't seen it. But everyone was talking about it. That was the whole. I mean, it feels like everyone's been saying the same things for like the last like 3-4 years. It's like, oh yeah, rates are coming down, interest rates are coming down, just a couple more months away. Yeah, sellers are going to be low, bringing their prices or bringing their cap rates up just a couple months away. And it's like 2021, 2022 goes by, 2023 goes by. People are saying the same thing. And now it's 25, and I'm hearing it again from brokers. They're like, oh, yeah. In a few months, I'm telling you, rate cuts are coming, debt's coming down. It's like, yeah, I don't think so, man.
Stop telling sellers and everybody in the market rate cuts are coming.
That's why we love to have these conversations, because I mean, these headlines are all over the place, and it's like you're on this cliff waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's right now, it's so important to hear people like boots on the ground looking at these deals, like what they're seeing.
Yeah.
100%.
Reality and the headlines are definitely two different things. So just just as a question, just in terms of your journey, and from somebody who was early on exposed to the industry, to hiking the Appalachian Trail and DJing, what some of those experiences, I'm curious, kind of how have they formed the way you look at your business? Because I mean, DJing, I always wanted to be a DJ. It's a performative thing. It's a cool thing, right? If you like dance music and you like being, out and about, it's a fun thing. But it's also, you're a performer, and like, is there some extent in terms of real estate development? There's some amount of performance to that as well, I guess, right? Is that?
I would say real estate development's more akin to producing, right? And that feels oddly similar because you're kind of orchestrating a bunch of different elements and turning it into one thing. You have the final product, and it takes a long time to build out a song. It takes months. Same thing with a real estate development, could take years, but you're kind of just orchestrating all these different pieces, putting them in line. And I don't know, I had an odd idea one time. I was trying to think if there was a way to visualize commercial real estate development, but in the way that I would build out a song, right? So different elements have to come in at different times, and it's on like a playing on a timeline track. So instead of like a 3.5 minute song, it's like, okay, this is a 6-month timeline, and it's like, okay, initially, you hit the space bar, press play, you got 3 months for DD here, then it's time to bring out your civil engineer, get the Alta survey. I was like trying to visualize how it would look. I swear there's something there. I'm gonna do it one day, but
what you just described is like a Gantt chart, but there's a relationship with music and rhythm, and like, right, there's
timing involved. It would be a Gantt chart for sure, but I would like to see it actually play out in front of me. That's what I would want to see. But anyways, there's definitely similarity there for sure, and you have to get creative, which obviously you got to be creative when you're producing. So
what was the hardest part about making music?
The hardest part is the discipline of having to sit down and slog through actually all of the issues that come up when you're making a song. Because I don't know what people think producing is like, but really the reality is it's just a bunch of incremental improvements until you have a final product that is actually worth something, right? So all these, I mean, and it's like, when I say a bunch of slight incremental improvement, it's like thousands, right? So it takes forever to kind of like go through all of them, add a little bit here or there, and it's hard to imagine. So the way I describe it is like every song was like a marathon, like running a marathon. It's like, oh, I just ran another marathon. even if you're a marathon runner, it's never like easy to run a marathon.
Yeah,
You know,
of course.
it's still a marathon every time. You can get better at it for sure.
My understanding is you have to be an absolute perfectionist,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely,
Because
100%,
if you
100%.
look past even the slightest detail,
Mm-hmm.
because you only have what is average songs 4 minutes long or
Sure.
5 or
Three
whatever
and
it
a
is.
half. Yeah,
Yeah, 3.5.
they're getting shorter now, oddly enough, but
Are
that's a
they?
whole nother
Yeah.
story.
And so,
Yeah.
what kind of music was it? Mostly dance music, or what were you producing?
Yeah, it was electronic music. I did a lot of dance music stuff, and then I transitioned into doing more film and TV after I got done with the DJing. So I did a lot of trailers for, I did the A Gossip Girl on HBO, the new Gossip Girl trailer. I did Call of Duty Modern Warfare Mobile. I had a
Cool.
bunch of, I had Batwoman on the CW. I had some stuff in Love Island, a bunch of like shows that you've probably heard of. So it was fun, and then a lot of video games too, but we won't get into all that.
Yeah. If we're gonna stay on this topic, I actually am curious because I don't get to talk to people in music or producers,
Yeah.
but I've been seeing these lawsuits, and it just seems because I'm not. This is a whole new world, and I imagine this is what real estate is to other people who have, are not part of it, but real estate development. But how how do you not like hear a little piece of something like and put it in, and like is it that close where it's that accidental, or are these lawsuits that it's
Oh,
very
you're
like
you're
Copyright.
talking about like sample
yeah,
lawsuits, right? Like copyright issues.
because
Oh
it feels
man,
to me like that would be so easy to mistakenly do.
yeah, it could happen. 100%. It definitely can happen, and I believe that's what happened with Blurred Lines and Marvin Gaye. That was a whole thing.
Oh,
I don't know
really?
if you guys know
Didn't know
that
that.
Robin Thicke song,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
he
That song.
copied. It was Marvin Gaye. I think the Gaye family won the lawsuit because they said that he copied that Robin Thicke and Pharrell copied what
There's a
was that
sample,
song?
right? Was
Yeah,
it a sample?
I don't think it was a sample, but it was
Oh,
just
okay.
extremely similar. I think that's what happened is it wasn't kind of on purpose. It was just like a weird coincidence, but they still won anyways. So it happens. But back to what you were saying before, that you don't talk to a lot of music industry people and commercial real estate. I actually know a ton of ex music industry people that are in commercial real estate. There's a
Oh,
guy who was a bigger DJ than I was. He's more popular. His name was Kasum, Kasum. He's
yeah.
director of leasing at, I believe, yeah, director of leasing at the Hudson Bay Company. His name's Brandon Weiss. Oddly, we have the same last name. But yeah, super cool guy. I used to like compete with him on like SoundCloud remixes and like blogs and stuff to get on the best blogs. Another guy who's my CMBS debt broker now was literally the guy who got me my first manager, Michael Fogel. So yeah, there's people from the music industry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
I just meant in general in life. I just don't get to pick a brain of a DJ or music producer. Do you know Chris
Yeah.
Bushnell from Biznow? He was also like DJing in LA before he went to Biznow.
No, I don't know him. What's his name? Chris?
Yeah, Chris Bushnell.
Okay,
He's
yeah, I
been
gotta
at
talk to him.
CRE for a while now.
That's cool. Yeah, I would like to. I'd like to chat with that guy. It's
Oh
always
wait,
fun
actually,
meeting ex music.
I haven't even told John this, but I had an ex racehorse of my own. I follow like thoroughbred rescues. I love horse racing so much, so I'm super interested in that. And I guess a good way to segue into that is like you must see a lot of people who also are commercial real estate and into horse racing, because I've seen people's names come up or their horses are called. I think there was one called Mixed Use, and it's just so interesting that tie also.
Yeah, that's funny. You know what? I only know one other person
Oh.
that's in horse racing, uh, in commercial real estate, and you would think I would meet a ton more, but I never meet them. I know guys that like it or that are they're into it, and but only one that really knew about it and owned a racehorse and owns racehorses now. Aaron Harris, randomly from Dutch Brothers, is into horse racing. He owns 4 thoroughbreds. So
cool.
yeah, and they run in California and Santa Anita and Del Mar. So we had a nice little chat about that when we were supposed to be talking about SYTES, but we ended up talking about horses for like 30 minutes. It was like
That's
half the meeting was gone.
How did you get involved with that? How was that an interest of your father's that got you involved?
Yes,
Or?
yeah. So he got into it like 15 years ago, and then he got me into it, and we started this stable, and we had some great success. We did well. Obviously, when he passed away, I took that over, and I've been running it relatively decently. I'm a little less risky on the racing side. I've gotten into breeding because I've had a lot of success breeding. The breeding world's even crazier, but we can talk about that a different day. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about home runs, I mean, there's some crazy home runs because weird things happen in breeding, right? You could breed to a horse and it costs like $20,000 to breed to this stud, right? But then that stud dies, and you have the last bloodline of that from that stud, which is literally what happened just now. And now your horse is worth, your baby is worth like 10 times just off the bat if it stays healthy, of course. And it's just kind of like crazy things happen in that world.
So
but
how does
yeah,
that? What I'm curious as a business in terms of horse racing. What's the? I mean, is it basically like a long shot speculative real estate deal where you're just basically trying things?
it's worse than that for sure. Yeah, it's 10 times worse. It's it's a home run game, but yeah, you're losing money. It's just like if you can break even, it's like, all right, you did good. This is fantastic. You didn't completely lose a ton of money. So yeah, the horse racing it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's so much fun, especially when you bring in partners and you got buddies that are in the whole, you're doing the whole thing together. It's a good time. I just lost like 3 races in a row, so I'm crying. I lost 2 last week. And the worst is I tell people when I'm racing, so they bet on the horse and we're all excited. And I always think we're gonna win, and we lose every fucking time. I can't believe it. So
is there a track near where you guys live?
Yeah, Gulfstream. Yeah, Gulfstream Park. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a box there, and we go and we just pray for the best. I have a horse racing on Friday, Urban Legend. So we'll see what happens. He should be doing well. He's coming off of a gelding, which I don't know if we want to get into all that right now, but basically he's a little bit more aerodynamic, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
I actually worked on a development where a racetrack was closed down, which is okay because
wow.
Yeah, they get old, and I think it's better for the racing world to keep it above board and well treated, and But it was so cool. Like I just I wanted to see the rundown stables, and Secretariat ran there, and we were working on like marketing of how we're going to preserve the history and the the rings and the names, and I just I think it's fine that it shut down. It was just too old, but I do love the history of that, and working on it was super cool.
Where was it?
In Massachusetts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just north of Boston, right?
Yeah.
What was it? Do you remember what it was called? Or
yeah, Suffolk Downs.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's cool.
It's a very large development.
144 acres.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you think of it, so love horse racing, but if you think of it in a community sense, there's a parking lot that the community can use, and there are stands. Otherwise,
100%.
Everything else is just space that is not, you can't drive through it. You can't build something on it. Like it's not for public use. So, and it is very close to Boston. It's on, the T. So, it definitely has.
It's right on the edge of it's right on the boundary, right? It's partially in Boston, partially not in Boston.
Yeah, East Boston and Revere, and it's on the blue line.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. There's a whole shift. It's funny because commercial real estate and horse racing do combine, because a lot of these tracks are on super valuable pieces of property, and there's a lot of different parties involved trying to see if we could stop racing and sell this land for multifamily development. And I mean, I've heard some crazy stories about very, very underhanded tactics being used to try to get these tracks shut down so they could be bought for commercial real estate development, especially on the West Coast. So it's kind of wild to see. And they're even trying to go ahead.
Is horse racing as a sport? Is it on decline? Is it
No,
growing?
it's definitely on the decline, 100%.
Oh,
yeah.
it is. Okay.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah. It's 100% on the decline. They've tried to, save it in different ways, and there are some paths forward. I think they just have to capture a younger audience. I think they need to make the betting a little bit easier to understand, and kind of that whole world a little bit.
Sure.
Just kind of modernize it. But
because sports betting has been obviously exploded in popularity.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah.
There was a group, I don't know if they're still around, but I went to some of their stuff at Gulfstream where that was the point, is to get younger people involved and show them around the track and teach them how to bet. And I love horses, and I don't want to see, illegal things done, and I don't want to see horses hurt. And so I do think closing down a lot of these older tracks, or some of the, not, grade A, like racing, I think is better for the industry. And then it brings more people to these tracks, which, like you were talking about, are also becoming a little bit more mixed use. They are becoming more of a community, like, these, you want to be seen there, you want to have brunch there. And so it is an interesting placemaking situation also.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference between like the modern track and the old seedy, it's like, where did these people come from? The track.
And you just, and the owners and the horses and the low grade, like the odds are there. They're not going to be treating the horses that well. They're not making money. The horses aren't great. Yeah.
No, it's a disaster. It's I could get into all that too. That's a whole other thing. I've heard some crazy stuff of like people like sabotaging the actual tracks to have horses have falls so they could shut down the whole thing. It's kind of crazy. Stuff that I've heard. I'm actually looking at doing a racetrack development randomly, and this is like, I can't say too much about it, but it's in a city that would need one, and we want to do like a modern track and kind of address some of the issues that you brought up about you can't use a lot of these horse tracks for anything else during the week besides horse racing. So we're making the infield usable for different sporting events and concerts and whatnot, and then having kind of the track around it obviously be roped off because that has to stay the same, but having people have access to that infield would be one of the things that we would do, and a million others.
That's awesome. Yeah. Are you looking at a particular part of the country for that right now? Or are you still
I got to keep it a little bit under wraps, but once I say it, everyone's going to be like, oh my God, how is there not a horse track in that city? Yeah.
We'll look forward to the announcement for sure. No, all right, cool. This has been awesome, Rafael. Thanks for joining us. As our audience wants to follow along with you, connect with you, and also learn more about SYTES, where should they go?
Yeah, so if you want to check out SYTES, it's SYTESCRE.com, but it's SYTES with a Y, so SYTESCRE.com. And if you want to keep up with what's going on in my world, my LinkedIn is always the best place. So I'm just Rafael Weiss on LinkedIn. You'll find me.
Fantastic. Yeah, this was fun. Thanks so much for joining us, Rafael.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Speaking with you again.
Thank you, Rachel and John. Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure. It was a great podcast. Great chat.
We want to hear your thoughts and feedback on today's episode, and what topics you would like us to discuss in future episodes.
Follow us on Spotify to be notified when our next episode is live. To connect with John and I, follow us on LinkedIn.
Thanks for joining us today on Breaking New Ground.